I said you can't enter. I don't care who you are. The security guard's voice cracked like a whip through the night air. His flashlight beam cut straight into the windshield of a dusty Toyota Camry, turning the modest car into a cage of blinding light. Marcus Thompson killed the engine. The old four-cylinder coughed once before dying, leaving only the electric hum of security cameras mounted on the iron gates. Those cameras that had watched him come home every night for 5 years. "This is my house." Marcus kept his voice steady. His hands, still rough from his construction days, tightened on the worn steering wheel. "What are you doing?" The guard stepped closer, taking in Marcus's faded t-shirt and work jeans. Derek Miller, according to his badge. New face. Hard eyes that held something darker than just suspicion. "Your house?" Derek's laugh was sharp, ugly. "Right, and I'm the Pope. Guys like you don't live here. Turn around before I call the real police." The cameras kept recording, red lights blinking in the darkness, capturing every second of what would become the most explosive 48 hours in corporate history. But Marcus Thompson, the $2 billion CEO, didn't know that yet. Subscribe to see what happened when the most powerful man in tech couldn't enter his own home. Marcus Thompson sat in his 12-year-old Camry, watching the scene unfold like some absurd theater performance. 20 minutes ago, he'd been in the boardroom, finalizing the acquisition that would push his tech empire past the $2 billion mark. Now, he couldn't even get through his own gates. "Listen," Marcus said, rolling down his window completely. The cold night air rushed in, carrying the mechanical buzz of the security radios. "I'm Marcus Thompson. I own this property. Check your records." Derek Miller stood like a wall of stubborn flesh, his scarred hand gripping the flashlight like a weapon. The scar ran from his thumb to his wrist, an old construction injury that seemed to throb in the cold. 2 weeks on the job, and he carried himself like he'd been guarding these gates for decades. "Records?" Derek's voice dripped contempt. "The only record I need is right here." He tapped his temple. "And my eyes tell me you don't belong." Behind Derek, 2 other guards watched from the security booth. Young men, barely 25, their faces carefully neutral. One of them, James, according to his badge, shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. The protocol manual sat on the desk behind them, unopened since Derek's arrival 14 days ago. "Where's Robert?" Marcus asked about the previous head of security. "He's worked here for 8 years. Retired." Suddenly, Derek's smile held no warmth. "Lot of changes happening. New management, new rules. And rule number 1, we verify everyone, especially—" He let the sentence hang, his eyes traveling over Marcus's simple clothes, his unpretentious car. The radio crackled. Another guard's voice filtered through static, something about checking the perimeter. But Marcus caught the real message in their tone. They were watching, waiting to see how this played out. "I've lived here for 5 years," Marcus said slowly. "My face is in your system. My car's license plate is registered. This is harassment." Derek laughed, a harsh sound that seemed to come from some deep well of bitterness. "Harassment? That's rich. You people always cry harassment when you don't get your way." His scarred hand flexed unconsciously. "Maybe you're confused. Maybe you work here. A lot of your kind do maintenance after dark." The insult landed like a physical blow. Marcus felt his jaw tighten, his hands curl into fists. But he'd learned long ago that anger was a luxury he couldn't afford. Not when he was building his company from nothing. Not when every bank loan came with extra scrutiny. Not now. "Call the main house," Marcus said. "The staff will confirm." "Night staff's gone home. Convenient, right?" Derek stepped closer to the car. "Look, I don't know what game you're playing, but it ends now. This is a respectable neighborhood. We had problems before. Theft, suspicious characters hanging around. That's why they brought me in. To clean things up." James shifted again in the booth, his hand moving toward the logbook, the same logbook Derek had been mysteriously updating for the past 2 weeks. The gesture was small, but Derek caught it. "James," Derek barked without turning, "don't you have rounds to make?" The young guard froze, then nodded quickly. "Yes, sir." He grabbed his flashlight and hurried away, leaving his partner equally silent and still. Marcus's phone buzzed. Sarah Chen, his lawyer, returning his earlier call about the acquisition. He'd need her for something very different now. One phone call, Marcus said. Let me make one call to prove who I am. Derek's scarred hand went to his radio. You've got 2 minutes to leave. After that, I call the real cops. And trust me. His voice dropped lower. They know how to handle situations like this. The security cameras continued their silent vigil, red lights pulsing in the darkness. Marcus reached for his wallet slowly, deliberately, keeping his hands visible. He'd done this dance before, at traffic stops, in high-end stores, in his own office building before people knew who he was. Here's my driver's license. He held it toward Derek. The address matches this property. Derek didn't even glance at it. Anyone can fake an ID. You people are good at that. Fake IDs, fake degrees, fake businesses. His scarred hand clenched and unclenched rhythmically. I need real proof. Property deed, mortgage papers, something that proves you actually live here. Property deed? Marcus's voice remained level, though inside, fury built like pressure in a boiler. Do you carry your property deed when you come home from work? I don't live in a place like this. Derek's voice turned bitter. Know why? Because people like you took everything. My construction business, destroyed by minority contracts. My house, foreclosed after your kind undercut every bid I made. The words hung in the air like poison. Behind Derek, his partner in the security booth had gone very still, his face a mask of discomfort. This neighborhood is for respectable people. Derek continued, emphasizing the word like a knife thrust. People who earned their place, not diversity hires who got lucky. You sure you're not confused? The service entrance is around back. Marcus's phone rang. Sarah Chen calling back. He reached for it. Don't. Derek's hand moved to his belt, not to his gun, but the gesture was clear. No sudden movements. I'm calling my lawyer. Your lawyer? Derek laughed, ugly and sharp. Another one, huh? Another rich black man with a lawyer on speed dial. He muttered under his breath, just loud enough to be heard. While people like me, real Americans, we lose everything. The security camera above them whirred softly, its lens adjusting, still recording, still watching. People like you, Derek said louder now. You always have stories, always victims. But I see through it. You probably saw this nice house, thought you'd try your luck. Maybe you worked here once, cleaned the pool, fixed something? His voice dripped condescension. That doesn't mean you live here. Marcus felt something shift inside him. Not just anger, though that burned white hot, but a cold clarity. This wasn't just about one racist security guard. This was orchestrated. You've been here 2 weeks, Marcus said quietly. What happened to Robert? To the old security protocols? Derek's face darkened. Asking lots of questions for someone who supposedly lives here. Real homeowners don't need to ask questions. They belong. And I don't belong? You said it, not me. Derek smiled, but his eyes remained hard. Look at you. That old car, those clothes. You think I'm stupid? People who own houses like this don't dress like they shop at Walmart. The radio crackled again. Derek grabbed it before his partner could. Unit 2, we have a trespasser at the main gate. African-American male, refusing to leave, requesting backup for removal. Trespasser? Marcus's control finally cracked. This is my home. People like you always lie. Derek stepped closer, close enough that Marcus could see the hate burning in his eyes. Always taking what isn't yours. Jobs, houses, opportunities that should go to real Americans who built this country. His scarred hand pointed down the dark road. 2 minutes, then I call the real police. And between you and me? His voice dropped to a whisper. They're not as patient as I am with your kind. The threat hung between them like a loaded gun. Somewhere in the distance, a siren wailed, unrelated, but ominous in the darkness. Marcus made his decision. He would not leave. He would not run from his own home. Call them, he said quietly. I'll wait right here. Derek's smile widened. He thought he'd won. He had no idea what was coming. Marcus hit the speaker button on his phone. Sarah Chen's voice cut through the night air. sharp and professional even at this hour. Marcus, I just emailed the acquisition papers. Sarah, I need you to listen carefully. Marcus kept his eyes on Derek, who had stepped back but watched like a hawk. I'm at my home's main gate. The new security team is refusing me entry. They're claiming I don't live here. A pause. Then Sarah's voice changed, switching from corporate lawyer to combat mode. Are you safe? Should I call the police? The head of security is threatening to call them himself. Claims I'm trespassing. Marcus watched Derek's face tighten at the word lawyer. I need you to pull up my property records. Now. On it. The sound of rapid typing filled the car. Marcus, who's the security company? This isn't the usual team. Good question. Marcus raised his voice slightly. Mr. Miller, what company do you work for? Who hired you 2 weeks ago? Derek's scarred hand went to his radio again. Secure Guard Solutions. And that's none of your business. Secure Guard. Sarah's typing intensified. Marcus, that's your company. You acquired them 6 months ago. The words hit like electricity. Marcus felt the pieces clicking together, but kept his face neutral. Sarah, I need you to do something else. Can you access the security footage from this gate? Everything should be backing up to our cloud servers. Already pulling it up. More typing. The interface shows... Wait, this is strange. There are gaps in the recordings. Specifically, the shift logs for the past 2 weeks. Derek had moved closer again, trying to hear the conversation. His partner in the booth was leaning forward too, suddenly very interested. Gaps? Marcus kept his voice calm. Like someone deleted them? Exactly like that. But here's the thing. Our system automatically creates redundant backups. Whoever deleted these files didn't know about the secondary server. Sarah's voice carried a hint of excitement. I'm looking at the original logs now. Want to know something interesting? Tell me. The authorization to change security protocols came from inside Secure Guard. Someone named... Papers rustled. Bradley Chen, operations manager. He's the one who promoted Derek Miller to head of security and gave him authority to update procedures. Derek's face had gone pale. His hand moved from his radio to his phone, thumb moving rapidly across the screen. There's more, Sarah continued. I'm seeing unusual activity in the system. Someone's been using the security office computers to access... Marcus, they've been trying to break into your corporate network. The attempts match the timestamps of Derek's shifts. The security booth erupted in whispered conversation. Derek spun around, barking at his partner to shut up. But James, the young guard who'd tried to check the logbook earlier, had heard enough. He stepped out of the booth, his face a mix of fear and determination. Mr. Thompson? James's voice shook slightly. I think you should know. Derek made us delete things, said it was for efficiency, but some of us kept copies, just in case. Shut your mouth! Derek roared, but it was too late. Marcus felt the tide turning. Sarah, I need you to lock down all access from this security station and get our IT security team on this immediately. Already done. Sarah's voice carried grim satisfaction. I'm also seeing financial records. Several large deposits to Derek Miller's account. The source is... Interesting. Derek's phone rang. He looked at the screen and his face went white. The caller ID must have told him everything he needed to know. His plan was unraveling. You have one chance, Marcus said quietly, to tell me who's paying you. Because in about 5 minutes, this becomes a criminal investigation. The cameras above them continued their silent recording. But now Marcus knew they weren't the only ones watching. Someone had orchestrated this. Someone with a very specific agenda. And Marcus was going to find out who. Show me the footage, Marcus commanded, his phone screen glowing in the darkness. Sarah had sent a secure link. The backup files Derek thought he'd destroyed. The first video loaded. Timestamp. 2 weeks ago, Derek's first day. The screen showed him at the security desk, methodically deleting entries from the digital logbook. His scarred fingers moved with practiced efficiency, erasing names, times, visitor records. What's he doing? James had moved closer, his young face pale in the phone's light. Covering tracks, Marcus said grimly. The next video showed Derek at the computer, typing rapidly. A new document appeared on screen, updated security protocols. Marcus zoomed in, his stomach turning as he read, Priority alert list. Verify all African American visitors. Double-check credentials. Report suspicious behavior immediately. Derek's face had gone from pale to ashen. That's private property. You can't. Private? Marcus's voice could have cut glass. This is my security system. MY Property. My company. The third video was even worse. Derek on his phone, walking away from the booth for privacy. But the parking lot camera had caught his words clearly. Yeah, it's working perfectly. Thompson comes home same time every night. Predictable. Derek's recorded voice carried satisfaction. Another week and I'll have his full schedule. Already got into some files. Found his meeting calendar, contact lists. These tech guys, they think they're so smart, but they're sloppy. The live Derek stepped backward, his hand reaching for his radio. But James blocked him, suddenly finding courage. I knew something was wrong, James said quickly. He made us sign new NDAs, said it was company policy, but I kept the old manual. The real procedures are nothing like what he implemented. Sarah's voice crackled through the speaker. Marcus, I'm tracking the money trail. Those deposits to Derek's account, they're coming through shell companies. But the original source, you're not going to believe this. Try me. Tech Rival Corporation, your biggest competitor. The same company that lost the ByteFlow acquisition to you last month. The pieces slammed together in Marcus's mind. This wasn't about race. That was just Derek's personal bonus. This was corporate espionage, using prejudice as a weapon. There's more, Sarah continued. I found Derek's communication logs. He's been feeding them information about your movements, your meetings, even your personal habits. Look at this message from 3 days ago. Marcus read the text on his screen. Phase 1 complete. Target isolated, routines documented. Moving to Phase 2, psychological pressure. He'll crack soon. These people always do when you hit their pride. These people, Marcus repeated softly. The temperature seemed to drop another degree. Derek's phone buzzed insistently. He glanced at it and went even paler. Marcus caught a glimpse of the screen. Dozens of missed calls from an unlisted number. They know, Derek whispered. They know you found out. Who's they? Marcus stepped out of his car for the first time, standing to his full height. Who exactly bought you, Derek? The broken man's shoulders sagged. I needed the money. After my business failed, Tech Rival approached me, said they needed someone inside your security company. Someone who understood how unfair the system was. How people like you. He trailed off. People like me, what? Marcus's voice was deadly quiet. I'll take your deal, Derek said suddenly. I'll tell you everything. Names, dates, what they wanted. Just don't let them know I talked. They're not just after your business. They want to destroy you personally. Make an example. Sarah's voice cut in. Marcus, I'm seeing more activity. Someone's trying to remote wipe Derek's devices. They're panicking. Download everything, Marcus ordered. Every file, every message, every... A new voice interrupted. Young, scared. The other guard from the booth had finally spoken up. Mr. Thompson? There's something else. Derek wasn't just collecting information. He's been coordinating with others. There are more people involved. Employees at your offices, your other properties. Derek's phone rang again. This time, he answered it with shaking hands, putting it on speaker without being asked. Miller. The voice was harsh, electronically disguised. What's happening there? Why is Thompson still at the gate? You said you could handle... He knows, Derek said simply. It's over. A pause. Then, you stupid, pathetic failure. You couldn't do one simple thing. Keep a black man out of his own house. Create a scandal. Make him lose control on camera. That's all you had to do. Marcus felt the final piece click into place. They hadn't just wanted his corporate secrets. They'd wanted him to explode, to become the angry black man on his own security footage, to destroy his reputation along with his business. But he hadn't given them that satisfaction. He'd stayed calm, stayed smart, and now he had them. Sarah, check Derek's email account, Marcus said. his voice steady despite the storm building inside him. Use the emergency access protocol. Already on it. The sound of rapid keystrokes filled the night air. I've got his secure guard email and, wait, he's got a second account. Proton mail, encrypted. Derek lunged for his phone, but James grabbed his arm. No more deleting evidence. Got it! Sarah's triumph was palpable. Marcus, you need to see this. Sending now. The email appeared on Marcus's screen, from Tech Rival Corp's Shadow Operations account to Derek Miller. Subject line, Phase 1 payment, Thompson Project. Marcus read aloud, his voice cutting through the darkness. Mr. Miller, as agreed, $50,000 has been transferred for successful placement within Thompson's security network. Your personal story about losing your business to diversity initiatives makes you the perfect asset. Use your genuine anger. Make it real. Derek's face crumbled. His scam hand clenched so tight the old scar went white. The email continued. Primary objective, gather intel on Thompson's movements, meetings, and contacts. Secondary objective, create incidents that trigger emotional responses. We need him on camera losing control. An angry black CEO attacking a working-class white security guard. The media will destroy him. There's an attachment, Sarah said quietly. Opening it now. A spreadsheet filled Marcus's screen. Names, photos, companies, all black and brown tech leaders, all marked with status updates. In progress, compromised, neutralized. Marcus Thompson's name sat at the top. Status, active, final phase. My God, James whispered. They're targeting all of you? Marcus scrolled down. Keisha Williams, CEO of Dataflow. Status, neutralized, scandal successful. He remembered her resignation 6 months ago after security footage leaked of her supposedly threatening an employee. Jamal Roberts of CloudTech. Compromised. Financial records obtained. His company had mysteriously lost 3 major contracts last quarter. They're systematically destroying black leadership in tech, Marcus said, his voice hollow. Using people like Derek as weapons. Another email loaded. Derek to his handler. Thompson's tougher than the others. Doesn't react. Stays calm. But everyone has a breaking point. Lost everything to these people. My business, my house, my family. They think they're better than us. Time to show them they're not. Sarah's voice cracked. Marcus, there's a whole folder here. Operation Clean Sweep. They're not just after individuals. They want to reverse every diversity initiative in Silicon Valley. Set things back decades. Derek finally spoke, his voice broken. I didn't know about the others. They told me it was just about you. Said you specifically destroyed my construction company by underbidding. I've never bid on construction, Marcus said coldly. I build software. They showed me documents, contracts you supposedly won. Derek's scarred hand shook. Made me believe you were the enemy. Sarah interrupted. Found the source. The handler's emails trace back to Richard Steinberg himself, Tech Rival's CEO. Marcus felt the weight of it. This went all the way to the top. A billionaire using foot soldiers like Derek, weaponizing their legitimate pain and misdirected anger. There's a final email, Sarah said, sent tonight 20 minutes ago, from Steinberg to Derek. Marcus read it, his stomach turning. If Thompson won't crack, escalate. Call the police. Tell them a black man is threatening you. You know how this plays out. Either he backs down and leaves, giving us the abandonment narrative, or he stays and faces armed officers. Win-win. Your final payment of $200,000 will be transferred upon successful completion. The silence that followed was deafening. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Marcus looked at Derek, broken, manipulated, but still culpable. At James, young, scared, but standing up for what was right. At his phone screen, showing the faces of dozens of targeted leaders. Download everything, he told Sarah. Every single file. We're not just saving my reputation anymore. Already done. What's your next move? Marcus Thompson smiled for the first time that night. It wasn't a pleasant smile. Now we flipped the script. The security cameras kept recording. But this time, they would capture something Tech Rival never expected. Justice. James, Marcus called out, his voice carrying new authority. Call everyone, every guard on duty. I want them here in 2 minutes. The young guard nodded and grabbed his radio. Within moments, footsteps echoed from around the property. Security guards emerged from the darkness, some confused, others worried, all sensing that something monumental was happening. "Gentlemen," Marcus addressed the gathering crowd, holding his phone high. "You're about to learn exactly who you've been working for, and who's been lying to you." Derek tried to move toward the booth, but found himself surrounded by his own team. The hunters had become the hunted. "2 weeks ago," Marcus began, "this man was placed here by Tech Rival Corp. Not to protect this property, but to steal from it. Not to ensure security, but to destroy it. Sarah, put them on speaker." Sarah's voice rang out clear and damning. "I'm sharing the security footage to Mr. Thompson's phone now." Marcus turned the screen toward the group. The first video played. Derek deleting logs, changing protocols, targeting black visitors specifically. The guards watched in growing horror as their leader's true agenda unfolded. "That's illegal," one guard whispered. "It gets worse," Marcus said grimly. The next video showed Derek's phone calls about gathering intel, his messages about making Marcus crack. Then came the emails. The $50,000 payment. The list of targets. The systematic plan to destroy black tech leaders across Silicon Valley. Derek's legs gave out. He sank to his knees on the cold pavement. "They told me he ruined my life. They showed me proof. Documents that said Thompson Construction beat my bids, took my contracts." "Thompson Construction doesn't exist," Marcus said quietly. "I've never been in construction. They fabricated everything to weaponize your anger. But the articles, the contracts." Derek's scarred hand clutched at nothing. "All fake." Sarah's voice was clinical now. "I've traced the documents. Created 6 months ago, in preparation for recruiting assets like you. They found people who genuinely suffered economic hardship and blamed minorities for their problems. Then they provided fake evidence to stoke that anger." The gathered guards stood in stunned silence. Several had stepped further away from Derek, as if his betrayal was contagious. Marcus played the final recording, tonight's call from Tech Rival, ordering Derek to call the police, to create a racial incident that would destroy Marcus's reputation, or worse. "Now," Marcus said, putting his phone away, "let me tell you something about who you really work for." He straightened to his full height, and for the first time that night, allowed his success to show in his bearing. "My name is Marcus Thompson. I started coding in my mother's garage with a computer I bought from a pawn shop. I built my first company while working construction during the day to pay rent. Every loan I applied for required twice the collateral as my white peers. Every contract I won was scrutinized 3 times over." His voice grew stronger. "I didn't steal from anyone. I didn't take shortcuts. I built a $2 billion tech empire through 18-hour days and code that changed how businesses operate. And 6 months ago, I acquired SecureGuard Solutions." Derek's head snapped up, eyes wide with horrified realization. "That's right," Marcus continued. "I don't just own this house. I own the company that signs your paychecks. Every last one of you works for me." A guard in the back cursed softly. Another pulled out his phone, frantically Googling. His face went pale as he found the acquisition announcement. "You've been taking orders," Marcus said, looking directly at Derek. "From a man Tech Rival paid to infiltrate my company, to spy on ME, using my resources while collecting my money." Derek's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. The magnitude of his mistake was written across his broken face. 30 pieces of silver, James said quietly. "That's what Judas got too. But here's what really matters." Marcus raised his voice. "This isn't just about me. Look at this list." He showed them the spreadsheet of targets. Dozens of successful black and brown tech leaders. All targeted, all attacked through operations just like this one, using people like you as weapons. Several guards looked sick. One, an older Latino man, crossed himself. "They played you," Marcus said to Derek. "Used your legitimate pain about losing your business and turned you into their attack dog, and you bit exactly who they told you to bite." Derek was crying now, the tears cutting tracks through his stubble. I wanted someone to blame. They gave me someone to blame." And that's exactly what they counted on, Marcus replied. The security cameras captured it all. The revelation, the shame, the moment an entire team realized they'd been party to something monstrous. But Marcus wasn't done. The real climax was yet to come. Marcus pulled out his phone again, but this time he wasn't calling his lawyer. He dialed a number he rarely used, his direct line to Secure Guard's Emergency Operations Center. This is Marcus Thompson, CEO Authorization Code Alpha 77. I need immediate changes at the Palisades property. Effective immediately. Derek Miller and anyone who participated in unauthorized surveillance is terminated. Send a new team, now. The voice on the other end stuttered. Sir? But that's the entire night shift. Then send the entire day shift. Have them here in 15 minutes. Marcus's voice brooked no argument. And dispatch our legal team. We have evidence of corporate espionage to hand over to law enforcement. He ended the call and turned to the assembled guards. Some stood defiant, others ashamed, most simply shocked. Derek remained on his knees, a broken man watching his world crumble. You have a choice, Marcus addressed them. Those who knew nothing about this operation can stay until the new team arrives. You'll give statements to our legal department and the police. Those who participated in any way. You leave now. Security clearances revoked. Final paychecks will be mailed. You can't do this. One guard, Peterson according to his badge, stepped forward. We have contracts. Rights. Your contracts are void. Sarah's voice came through the speaker again. Clause 15B. Immediate termination for corporate espionage, theft of proprietary information, or discrimination based on protected characteristics. You violated all three. The guards began to scatter. Some headed for the parking lot, others stayed, including James, who stood taller now. Marcus heard sirens in the distance, growing closer. He walked over to Derek, who looked up with tear-stained eyes. They used me, Derek whispered. Yes, they did. Marcus crouched down to Derek's level. But you let them. You see, Derek, I actually understand your anger. When I started my company, I faced rejection after rejection. Banks that wouldn't give me loans, investors who wouldn't return my calls. I could have blamed everyone else, could have let that anger consume me. Derek's scarred hand trembled. What did you do? I built something better. I created jobs, thousands of them, for everyone. Black, white, brown, anyone willing to work hard. Marcus's voice carried no triumph, only truth. Your construction business failed. That's painful, but it wasn't because of people like me. It was because the world changed and you didn't change with it. I just wanted someone to pay, Derek admitted, and Tech Rival gave you a target. Used your pain as a weapon. Marcus stood. But failure isn't someone else's fault, Derek. It's a chance to build something new. The police cars pulled up, their lights painting red and blue patterns across the gates. Two officers emerged, hands cautiously near their weapons until they saw the scene. A calm conversation, not the racial confrontation they might have expected. Officers, Marcus greeted them. I'm Marcus Thompson, owner of this property and CEO of Secure Guard Solutions. We have evidence of corporate espionage and attempted theft of trade secrets to turn over. Sarah had already sent the files to Marcus's phone. He showed the officers the emails, the payments, the surveillance footage. Their expressions grew more serious with each piece of evidence. Mr. Miller, one officer said, you're under arrest for corporate espionage and attempted theft of proprietary information. You have the right to remain silent. As they cuffed Derek, Marcus made another decision. Officers, he was manipulated by Richard Steinberg of Tech Rival Corporation. The real criminal is sitting in a boardroom in Palo Alto. This man is just a tool they used and discarded. Derek looked back, surprise flickering through his despair. I'm not dropping charges, Marcus clarified. But you should know who really orchestrated this. Sarah, send them everything about Operation Clean Sweep. The next 15 minutes moved like clockwork. The day shift arrived, a diverse group of professionals who looked confused, but ready. Marcus addressed them at the gate, the same spot where he'd been denied entry just an hour ago. We're implementing new protocols, he announced. Starting tomorrow, everyone entering this property uses fingerprint scanning. No exceptions, no subjective judgments. Technology doesn't see color, it sees identity. What about tonight? The new shift supervisor asked. Tonight, you use the photo database. Everyone is treated with equal respect. And if you're not sure about someone, Marcus looked each guard in the eye. You err on the side of welcome, not suspicion. He turned to James. You showed courage tonight. Integrity when it mattered. I'm promoting you to shift supervisor, effective immediately. Your first job is to help retrain every security employee in our company. James's eyes widened. Sir, I should have spoken up sooner. But you spoke up when it counted. That's what matters. Marcus handed him a business card. Report to headquarters Monday. We're going to make sure this never happens again. As the police cars drove away with Derek, Marcus felt the weight of the night settling on his shoulders. But also something else. Purpose. Sarah, he said to his phone, draft a press release. SecureGuard Solutions is launching a company-wide initiative, anti-bias training for all employees, new technology-based security protocols. And we're creating a fund to help displaced workers retrain for new careers. Including people like Derek? She asked. Especially people like Derek. Before Tech Rival got to them. The cameras kept recording. Tomorrow the footage would show something different than Tech Rival intended. Not an angry black man losing control, but a leader transforming crisis into change. Justice served. System reformed. Future protected. The sun was beginning to rise as Marcus stood at the same gates that had barred him hours ago. The new security team had settled into their positions, a mix of faces that reflected the real America. Black, white, Latino, Asian, all working together with professional precision. James approached hesitantly, still processing his sudden promotion. Mr. Thompson, I need to say something. Go ahead. I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner. The young man's voice cracked slightly. I knew something was wrong when Derek changed the protocols, when he made us treat certain visitors differently. But I was scared. My mom's medical bills. I needed this job. Marcus placed a hand on James's shoulder. You spoke up when it mattered most. That takes real courage. But those other people on the list, the ones who already got hurt by these schemes, if I'd acted sooner, stop. Marcus's voice was firm but kind. You can't change the past, but you can shape the future. That's why I'm putting you in charge of training. You understand how fear can silence good people. Use that understanding. The new shift supervisor, Maria Santos, joined them. A former military police officer, she'd already reorganized the gate procedures with impressive efficiency. Sir, we've implemented the fingerprint scanners as temporary measures. The permanent biometric system will be installed by noon. Good. And the human element? Already briefed the team. Respect first, suspicion never. Everyone gets the same professional treatment. She paused. May I ask something? Marcus nodded. Why not press charges against all of them? Some of those guards knew what was happening. Marcus looked out at his property, thinking of the long journey that had brought him here. Let me tell you something about building empires, Maria. You can build them on revenge or on redemption. Only one lasts. He turned to address the full team gathering for shift change. The old guard departing, the new arriving, all watching him with curiosity. 23 years ago, I was sleeping in my car, Marcus began. I'd just been turned down for a loan, the fifth bank that month. The loan officer told me people like me didn't understand business. Said I should stick to what I knew, manual labor. The guards listened intently. Even the departing ones had stopped to hear. I could have let that anger define me. Could have spent my energy fighting everyone who looked like him. Instead, I wrote code for 18 hours a day. Built something undeniable. Something so good they couldn't ignore it anymore. He gestured to the estate behind him. This place isn't about showing off wealth. It's proof that their limitations can't define our destinations. But that only works if we don't become them, if we don't let their prejudice turn us into mirrors of their hatred. An older blackguard from the new team spoke up. What about justice? They tried to destroy you. They're getting justice. Derek's in custody. Tech Rival will face federal investigation. But justice isn't just about punishment. It's about prevention. Marcus met each person's eyes. Every one of you is now part of that prevention. You're the firewall against this happening again. James stepped forward. What do we tell people who ask about tonight? The truth. That someone tried to weaponize prejudice for corporate gain, that they failed because good people eventually stood up, and that we're building something better from the ashes of their scheme. Sarah's voice came through his phone one last time. Marcus, the press release is ready, and tech rival stock just dropped 12% in pre-market trading. Word's getting out. Let it spread, Marcus said. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. As the morning sun painted the sky gold, Marcus finally walked through his gates, not as a victim, not as an angry man seeking vengeance, but as a leader who'd turned an attack into an opportunity for change. Behind him, James was already working with Maria on new training protocols. The guards were sharing contact information, building the network that would protect not just property, but principles. The security cameras recorded it all, but now they captured something tech rival never intended: the birth of a movement. From corporate espionage to corporate conscience, from systematic oppression to systematic protection, the empire Marcus built wouldn't fall to their schemes. Instead, it would grow stronger, broader, more inclusive. That was the best revenge of all. 1 week later, Marcus Thompson stood before 3,000 employees at SecureGuard's annual meeting. The conference hall fell silent as he took the stage. Last week, I couldn't enter my own home, he began, not because of a technical glitch or mistaken identity, but because someone weaponized prejudice for profit. They turned a man's economic pain into a tool of destruction. The screens behind him showed the emails, the target list, the faces of leaders who'd been attacked. Gasps rippled through the audience. But here's what they didn't count on: the conscience of ordinary people. A young guard named James who chose truth over job security. A new team who chose justice over comfort. All of you who will choose vigilance over ignorance. He clicked to the next slide. The Thompson Initiative for Workplace Equity. Starting today, every SecureGuard employee undergoes anti-bias training. Not the checkbox kind. Real education about how prejudice hides in systems, policies, and assumptions. We're investing $50 million in this program. It will be the industry standard. Applause thundered through the hall. But training isn't enough. We're also launching the Second Chance Fund, helping displaced workers like Derek Miller rebuild their careers before desperation makes them weapons. Because hatred grows in the soil of hopelessness, we must plant something better. The final slide showed the security footage from that night. Marcus calm at his gates while chaos swirled around him. They wanted me angry. Wanted me to become the stereotype they could sell to destroy us all. But we are not our anger. We are our actions. And our actions today shape tomorrow's world. He leaned into the microphone, his voice carrying the weight of history and hope. Look around your workplace, your community, your family. Discrimination doesn't always announce itself with slurs and signs. Sometimes it hides in algorithms, in hiring patterns, in security protocols that treat people differently based on appearance. When you see it, speak up. Don't wait like those guards waited, because your silence is the soil where injustice grows. Build bridges, not walls. Create opportunities, not obstacles. That's how we win, not by defeating them, but by becoming better than they ever imagined we could be. The cameras were still recording, but now they captured truth instead of lies, hope instead of hate, justice served, future secured, story told. If this story moved you, share it. Someone needs to hear it today.